Hey guys, this is Ben. Welcome back to the channel. It is Oscar week. The Oscars are this Sunday. I'm super excited, which means it is time for me to give my final 2023 Oscar predictions. A lot has happened since the nominees have come out. There's quite a few categories that seem to be like locks at this point, but there are quite a few that are still up in the air, and I don't really know what's gonna happen, which is pretty fun, which is pretty exciting. I love going into an award ceremony not knowing what's gonna happen. So yeah, let's just jump right into it with Best Picture. Now, if you've been following the award season, you would know that at this point, it looks like Everything Everywhere All at Once is kind of a lock to win. You know, never say that something is a lock, especially when it comes to Best Picture, but everything points to this film being the Best Picture winner for this year. It's won everything. It won the PGA, DGA, Globe, SAG. It even got a record for the amount of SAG awards that it won. A lot of people, including myself, assumed that, you know, this film wouldn't go over as well with the Academy voters, that this wasn't going to be a film that everybody really loved. But there's nothing that indicates that that's the case. And there's nothing here that indicates that the Academy voters won't love Everything Everywhere All at Once, especially when you consider the amount of nominations that it got. It would actually be pretty wild at this point if it didn't win. There's not been a time in recent memory where a film has swept the precursors like this film has and didn't go on to win Best Picture. I can't believe that we're actually here and it's actually seeming like this film is gonna win Best Picture. If you would have told me that back in April when this film came out, I would have told you were crazy. I didn't even think this film was gonna have a shot at being nominated. So the fact that it's the front runner for picture is pretty wild and pretty awesome. We do not see this type of film winning Best Picture ever. We have never seen a film like this win Best Picture. It's so wild and out there, but super original and inventive. And this is the type of film that should win Best Picture. So I'm happy that it looks like it's going to. Oftentimes when going into the Oscars, you can kind of tell who's gonna win or who the runner-up is, just because of the passion and the momentum that a film has. If we're talking the year about Parasite, 1917 seemed like it was the film that was going to win for the longest time, but then Parasite started to gain some momentum at the last second, and 1917 started to get that front-runner fatigue, you know? Same thing you could say with Power of the Dog just last year. That was a front-runner for quite a while, but then all of a sudden, Coda had this big wave of passion and a lot of momentum going into the Oscar ceremony. That has not been the case this year. Everything Everywhere All at Once has not lost any momentum. It has continued to sweep all of the award ceremonies, and there doesn't really seem to be a clear runner-up. Although, if there were a runner-up to Everything Everywhere All at Once, I do think it would be All Quiet on the Western Front. This film obviously did super well at the BAFTAs. It basically swept the BAFTAs, and it wasn't really nominated for a lot of the other precursor award ceremonies, so you could say that maybe it didn't really have a chance to, you know, prove its strength and get a lot of momentum behind it. I do think a lot of Oscar voters are gonna love this movie. I think it has a chance in quite a few technical categories. I just don't see it winning Best Picture. And it also doesn't feel like the movie that would win Best Picture. It's a phenomenal movie, but it's another war movie, and it doesn't really break any new ground. It doesn't really have much of a narrative behind it, which we've seen over the past couple of years is something that really does matter with the Oscars. Other than those two, like, I guess Banshees would be number 3, could win Screenplay and Supporting Actress and then somehow surprise and win, but I really don't think that's gonna happen. Fabelmans, Top Gun, Elvis, like, pretty much dead. All right, and with that, let's move on to Director. Now this one I think is also kind of almost a lock. The Daniels have won everything, including the DGA. There's nobody else who's really been winning these awards. Spielberg won, I believe, the Globes, but that's it. And Spielberg does have the narrative behind him a little bit, that this is, you know, a very personal film to him, but we've seen time and time again that that doesn't necessarily matter, and it seems like people don't really care about that enough. They're giving it to the Daniels. Everything Everywhere All at Once is all about the direction, so if that film is gonna win Best Picture, if a lot of people are passionate about it, I think it has to win Director. But again, if anybody is gonna win other than Daniels, maybe it would be Spielberg, and maybe it would be a case of the Academy wanting to spread the love a little bit. We've seen that the Academy does like to spread the love, so maybe they decide that this award they're going to give to Spielberg, to give the Fabelmans a little bit of recognition, but I really doubt it. I think it's going to be the Daniels. Okay, moving on to actress. This one is actually interesting. Cate Blanchett seemed like the front runner for a long time. She was winning everything basically up until the SAG. She won the BAFTA. But Michelle Yeoh did get that SAG win and has been gaining a lot of momentum over the last couple of weeks and was kind of at her peak right during the voting period. Cate Blanchett also has already won 2 Oscars, so this would be her 3rd Oscar. If some people are on the fence about who they're going to vote for, maybe they vote for Michelle Yeoh because it would be her 1st Oscar. It has a narrative behind it. She does kind of carry the film. At the end of the day, though, I'm still going to stick with Cate Blanchett just because she did have a lot more support in the precursors, and I do think that the Academy is going to want to give something to Tar, because this is really Tar's only shot at a win, and if Cate Blanchett doesn't win this, Tar goes home empty-handed. And I think the Academy did really like Tar, and Cate Blanchett gives an incredible performance in that movie, so I think they're going to look past the whole narrative thing, the fact that Cate Blanchett's already won 2 Oscars, and give her the award. Think of Frances McDormand a couple years ago. She had already won some Oscars, but that didn't matter. She still won. Let's move on to actor, where again, it's a pretty tough race and kind of a coin flip between Brendan Fraser and Austin Butler. Austin Butler was doing really well, winning the BAFTAs and winning the Golden Globes, but then Brendan Fraser won the Critics' Choice and the SAGs. So it's kind of tough. I don't really know who to go with. Before the award season started, everybody was on the Brendan Fraser train, wanting him to win. He has such a great narrative behind him. But Austin Butler is in a Best Picture film, and that's pretty important. Elvis is a much, much stronger film overall. The Whale was not nominated in Best Picture, didn't even get a screenplay nomination. So clearly the Academy members like Elvis quite a bit, and I think that really does help. Also, Austin Butler is giving a very transformative performance, and he's playing a real-life figure, which we've seen time and time again is something that the Oscars really like. They really do like those big transformative performances, and he's playing Elvis. Such an iconic figure in history, and he nails it too. And again, the film has a lot of passion behind it. So for all of those reasons, I'm going to go with Austin Butler. It just feels like the type of performance that would win. But again, would not be surprised if Brendan Fraser wins because of the narrative behind him, because of his industry support, and because he's also giving a very transformative performance as well. Colin Farrell, don't think that's happening. He hasn't shown any sign of being a threat to those two. And again, that's just not the type of performance that usually wins. It's a very understated performance. Okay, supporting actress is, again, another interesting category where I think it's a 3-horse race between Angela Bassett, Carrie Condon, and Jamie Lee Curtis, surprisingly. Angela Bassett was the clear frontrunner for a while, up until she lost the SAG to Jamie Lee Curtis, and up until she lost the BAFTA to Carrie Condon. So all of a sudden, Carrie Condon and Jamie Lee Curtis have cemented themselves as real threats to Angela Bassett. I do think, though, that the win for Carrie Condon at the BAFTAs is maybe just a BAFTA thing. Like, they gave Banshees quite a few awards, and I think they just really liked that film overall, so maybe that's why she won at the BAFTAs. Jamie Lee Curtis at SAG is interesting. I don't quite know how to feel about that. People really do like Jamie Lee Curtis. She has a lot of support behind her. A lot of people just really want to see her win, I think, because she's Jamie Lee Curtis. They just want to see her recognized. But ultimately, I don't see her winning. I don't see her winning because I think voters deep down know that she just did not give as strong of a performance as these other actresses. She's just not in the movie that much. She's not a big part of this movie. And really, the only reason why she's nominated and potentially winning is because she's Jamie Lee Curtis. And like I said, they do like to spread the love a little bit, and this is a good opportunity for them to deviate from Everything Everywhere All at Once and recognize somebody else, recognize a different movie. So I'm gonna go with Angela Bassett. I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion. Most of the talk's been around Angela Bassett through this whole award season, and I think they're gonna wanna recognize her. Hong Chow, Stephanie Sue, would be absolutely shocked. Would be shocked if any of them won. Supporting actor, this one is one of the easiest categories of the night. Ke Huy Quan is winning this award. I would be so shocked if he did not win this award. I know he lost the BAFTAs, but again, I think the BAFTAs just really liked Banshees, and I think the Barry Coogan thing was just a BAFTA thing. I don't think that's gonna happen here. Sometimes the BAFTA does things like that, and Ke Huy Quan has been sweeping throughout the whole award season. He's pretty much a lock. All right, let's move on to original screenplay, where it's definitely between Everything Everywhere All at Once and Banshees. I think it's gonna go to Everything Everywhere All at Once because of the overall passion that that film has. It's a very, very original story, but Banshees did win the Globes and the BAFTAs, and it's a very writey movie. You know, it's one of those movies that heavily relies on its writing. I wouldn't be surprised to see it win here. Again, maybe it's a situation where they want to spread the love a little bit and give Banshees some recognition, so this is one that Banshees gets, but then Everything Everywhere All at Once still gets director and still gets picture. I could definitely see that happening. I am still gonna stick with Everything Everywhere All at Once, but I actually would not be shocked at all if it goes to Banshees. Adapted screenplay is pretty tough. I think that this is between Women Talking and All Quiet on the Western Front. All Quiet on the Western Front, I think, is the stronger film overall with more support overall. I think that like I said, the Oscar voters are gonna wanna give some awards to All Quiet on the Western Front, and maybe the passion for this film gets it that win, but it's just not, it just doesn't feel like the type of movie that would win screenplay, whereas Women Talking is like such a screenplay winner movie. Like, this is the type of movie that wins screenplay. Again, it heavily relies on the writing. It's a very talky movie. There's literally the word talking in the title of the movie. It did win the WGA, which is actually pretty big. That's the Writers Guild, so that's pretty significant. At the end of the day, I am still gonna go with Women Talking because even though I think it's not the more beloved film overall, like this was definitely like number 9 or 10 for Best Picture, whereas All Quiet on the Western Front I think is like number 2 for Best Picture right now. The writing for All Quiet on the Western Front is not its big draw. It's all about the technical elements, whereas Women Talking is all about the writing. So I'm gonna stick with Women Talking. I could see it going to All Quiet on the Western Front. Anything else, again, I'd be very surprised. Cinematography. I think it's going to be All Quiet on the Western Front. Like I said, I think this film is bound to get some wins, likely some technical category wins, and this is a very clear category where it could win. The cinematography in All Quiet on the Western Front is very strong. One of the best elements of the movie. A close number 2 would be Elvis. I think Elvis could definitely also take this. It has very flashy cinematography, and maybe the passion for Elvis will give that the win. So I think it's between those two, but I'm gonna go with All Quiet on the Western Front. Let's move on to editing, where I think this is gonna be another win for Everything Everywhere All at Once. So much of what makes this movie work is the editing. It's all in the editing and the direction. The editing in this movie is insane. It's very flashy. There's the most editing in this movie, and a lot of times we see that the film with the most editing ends up being the winner. That's just how it goes a lot of the time, and this film definitely has the most editing. It's also kind of been winning everything. It even won the BAFTA, where it didn't really win anything else. Top Gun Maverick is definitely number 2. I have that winning sound, which I'll get to, and usually sound and editing go together. It's like a combo. We've seen that, you know, time and time again. So if Everything Everywhere All at Once wins, that would be breaking that stat, but all signs point to Everything Everywhere All at Once being the winner. Top Gun Maverick is definitely the number 2. I think it also did get an Eddie win, although it wasn't in the same category as Everything Everywhere All at Once. Production design, I think, is Babylon. This seems to be the one award that Babylon is sure to win. Everybody kind of agrees that the production design in Babylon is very strong, even if they don't like the movie. Even at the BAFTAs, where All Quiet on the Western Front was winning everything, Babylon still won production design. So that's pretty big. Elvis would probably be number 2. It also does have a lot of extravagant production design and sets and all that kind of stuff. So don't underestimate Elvis. but I think it's gonna be Babylon. I hope it's Babylon. Makeup and hair, I think is gonna be Elvis, maybe The Whale. Elvis, again, has more passion behind it, and and the actor makeup combo, I think, is something that happens quite often. There's quite a bit of makeup throughout Elvis, so I think it could go to Elvis, but don't underestimate The Whale. There's obviously a lot of makeup and hair in The Whale as well. It's a very big part of that movie. Costume design, Black Panther, the first movie, won costume design, so that's something to consider. Everything Everywhere All at Once got the Costume Guild, which is actually pretty crazy, but I think that's a case where everybody's just so passionate about Everything Everywhere All at Once that they want to give it the awards. I don't necessarily think that's gonna happen at the Oscars though. I'm gonna place my bet again on Elvis. It has a lot of different costumes throughout. Again, I think the Academy members are really gonna like Elvis. It has been winning quite a few precursors as well, so I'm gonna go with Elvis. All right, moving on to score. I want it to be Babylon so bad. If I had to pick one award that I could choose, I would choose Babylon winning score. I love the Babylon score so much. In my mind, it is not even a competition. It is so clearly the best score of the year. It's the only score of the year that I'm like still listening to and listen to often. Justin Hurwitz does not miss. Even if you don't like Babylon, I think we can all agree that the score is amazing. So it should win, but it's not looking great. It won the Golden Globes, so that's one thing it has going for it, but it hasn't won anything else. So it just doesn't really have that momentum, It doesn't really, there's nothing that indicates that this is going to win score. Tar won the Critics' Choice somehow. I don't know how that happened. And then All Quiet on the Western Front won the BAFTA. But like I said, the BAFTAs really liked All Quiet. Maybe they gave it to All Quiet because they love the film so much, and maybe the Oscars won't like it quite as much. I don't know. I'm gonna be crazy and I'm gonna predict it. I'm gonna predict that it's still going to happen. I have no logical reason to pick it, but I feel like it could still happen, guys. There's so much score to this score. There's so many unique elements to it that if voters really do sit down and listen to all these scores, like how can they not pick Babylon? That's my reasoning behind it. Anyways, could also go to Everything Everywhere somehow if, again, like they have a ton of passion for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Fabelmans, like I don't think that the whole John Williams narrative thing is gonna happen. That hasn't really caught on. Banshees, I think, basically has no shot. So yeah, I think it's between All Quiet and Babylon, and I'm picking Babylon. Call me crazy. Sound, I think this one is going to Top Gun Maverick. I think this is an easy award for them to give to Top Gun Maverick. They want to recognize Top Gun. This is an easy one to do it. We see films like Top Gun winning sound all the time, the big blockbuster technical achievements, and there's a lot of sound, different sound elements to Top Gun, so it would be very much a deserved win. The runner-up would probably, again, be All Quiet on the Western Front. It did win the BAFTA, and it's a war film with a lot of different sound elements to it as well. Song is looking like it's going to be Naatu Naatu from RRR. Won the Critics' Choice, won the Golden Globes. This song has been the most talked about song out of all these songs. Seems like the song that the most people are passionate about. If it weren't to win, I think it would maybe go to Lift Me Up from Black Panther, simply because it's like a tribute to Chadwick Boseman. It's Rihanna. Maybe it could go to Hold My Hand because that's a Best Picture nominee. And maybe they love Top Gun. They want to give it another award. They want to see Lady Gaga get up on stage. VFX is Avatar. It is done. Nothing else has a shot. Let's move on. Animated feature is Pinocchio, which is also kind of done. It has swept everything. It's won everywhere. So Pinocchio is winning. It's Guillermo del Toro. They want to give Guillermo del Toro the award. The only film that I could see taking it, which I don't think is going to happen, is Puss in Boots. Just because everybody's talking about Puss in Boots right now. Everybody's loving Puss in Boots. International feature, another very easy category, is obviously going to go to All Quiet on the Western Front. Do I need to say anything else? Documentary feature, I think is probably going to be Navalny, just because it's the most relevant film. It's a very, very relevant film right now with everything that's going on with Ukraine and Russia. Though Fire of Love is probably the most talked about documentary from this year. And the documentary category does do some weird stuff sometimes. They don't always go with a clear front runner. So I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to Fire of Love. but just because of how like relevant the film is right now, I'm gonna go with Navalny. Animated short, okay, I haven't seen these, so I'm kind of going off of Gold Derby for a lot of these, but I'm gonna go with The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse for animated short, because this is an Apple TV short. Apparently they've been promoting it a ton. It's the one that people are actually talking about. Like, this is a short that people seem to have actually seen. Ice Merchants is another one that I know that people are really passionate about. People really like that one as well. So these categories are the one that usually make or break how well you do with these predictions, because it's kind of a toss-up. It often doesn't go to the one you think it's gonna go to. Documentary short, same situation, but I'm gonna go with Stranger at the Gate because Malala is a producer on that one. I think that's pretty significant. People see that she's producer and they're like, I'm gonna vote for that one. And then live action short, I'm gonna go with Le Pipule. It's a Disney short. It's one that was on Disney Plus. Alfonso Cuarón is a producer for this short. So again, I'm mainly going off of name recognition here. People see that it was done by Alfonso Cuarón and want to vote for it because of that. I'm not really sure. Maybe The Irish Goodbye. That one's been getting a lot of acclaim, so could be The Irish Goodbye. I'm gonna put my bet on Le Pipule. We'll see what happens. All right, so that's it. Those are all the categories for this year's Oscars. Those are my final predictions. I'm locking them in. So we're gonna see what happens this Sunday. I will be filming my reaction. I'll be doing a live reaction. So make sure you check that out when that video is released. Let me know down in the comment section below what you think. Do you agree with my picks? What are your predictions? Let me know all of that down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. It really helps me out. I really do appreciate all of your support. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you on Oscar Sunday.